Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 28th. And today I want to talk about a situation that has arisen in this country and around the world. It's called flexible working hours. And in the UK, England, they have a law associated with flexible working hours, which I think is very interesting. In the UK, right now, employees can request a flexible working schedule, and employers have to respond within 6 months to that employee. Now that's very interesting because in the US we have flexible working because of the pandemic, but we have no laws associated with it that I know of. But now what's happening in the UK is they want to change the law. Right now the employers had 6 months to get back to the employee about flexible working hours if requested. But now they're changing the law so that the employer only has 3 months to respond to the employee. Now they don't have to give a positive response, but they have to give them some response. And I think that's very interesting in that the UK has taken a position that this is an important labor law. Flexible working, where possible, should be allowed, and they want to allow employees to request that. Now, you all know that I was in high tech for many years, and I was fortunate enough to rise to the top of the ranks at the company. And I had many people working for me, and I had department managers. And quite often, we had employees that worked from home. And some people would request, and if the manager felt it was appropriate, they would allow them to have a 4-day week. 4 days in the office, 1 day at home, or 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. It was up to the manager. And I never bothered them. I never requested that they stop doing that in any way, shape, or form, as long as the job got done. And most of the workers who were on flexible hours were what we call account representatives. They were responsible for a group of clients, and as long as they could take care of their clients from home and the clients didn't complain about anything, then it was fine if they worked from home. And they would have to come into the office periodically for meetings and things like that. And then I don't know how long it was, but at one point in time, a couple of employees moved out of state. But they didn't lose their job, and they worked from the West Coast. And some of them worked from the South, and everything was fine. So I think, when there's flexible hours and you have responsible employees, that is a very good thing for a company to have. Now, unfortunately, there are many jobs in this country that you can't work from home. You have to be on the job doing things like that. But in the high-tech world, in my world, in what was my world, you could certainly do it. And we had clients, when the internet first broke into our space, who demanded that we set up internet protocols for them so that they could access their files from their offices and stuff, because we had mostly marketing information. We were able to tell our clients through our computer systems which client was likely to buy a particular brand of something, or which client would be interested in a certain service. And it was a very profitable business. We had major retailers like Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Tiffany's. Those were our clients. And we had them all over the world. Tiffany's opened a set of shops in Japan, and we had to provide internet services for those shops in Japan so that the companies could communicate. There was only one problem. We had to work with the Japanese on that project, and Japanese are very hard workers, but they never will tell you the truth. They never will tell you when they fall behind or something like that. Every time you spoke to them, everything was good, but in many cases it didn't work out that way. But for the most part, they got the job done, and that's all we could really ask for, because they work differently than people in the U.S. So in any event, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing and a good rule that people can request a flexible work schedule, and it's a good rule that the employers are required to respond to that request in a reasonable amount of time. And I expect that I would think that 3 months is a reasonable amount of time. I mean, you could write, if there's going to be a problem, you can tell the employee, I'll let you know a little bit later, or something like that. Now, the difficulty with having employees scattered around like that is a management problem. The managers really handle that many flexible employees. And what if the manager wants to be flexible and work from home? I don't know if all of that stuff is so easy to do. Anyhow, it's a great idea, and it's worth watching. And I think in the U.S., in many industries, the Internet has provided a methodology for not only companies to be profitable, but for people to be flexible. And in many cases, working from home is much better for people. If you're a young mother or something like that, you got kids in school, if you're allowed to work from home a couple of days a week, it takes a lot of pressure off. It could save you money for childcare and stuff like that. Although I don't know if it's easy to work from home when you got a bunch of small kids in the house. And I will tell you that there were many cases when, even before the Internet, that I had to do stuff from home, and I would be up into the middle of the night working on a computer at home to get things done. So I think flexible work is going to exist in our community, our life, for a long, long time. And I think it's about time that the U.S. did something like the U.K. Put in a law in effect about how to manage flexible workers. One of the other things that's happened with flexible working is that people have had their salaries cut because they weren't working from the office anymore, and they were saving the expense of traveling to work. So I don't know if I agree with that all. Maybe that's something that has to be looked into. But certainly if you live on Long Island and it costs you a couple $100 a month to go to work, and then you don't have to go to work every day, you could save a fair amount of money. So it might be okay to reduce their salary by a little bit. But I suspect that there are some employees that would attempt to take advantage of that situation. And it'll take some skill to manage people who are flexible workers and working from home. So that's something else you got to consider. So anyhow, I just thought that was an interesting piece of information, and we should probably look into it and watch this very closely in this country. And that's it for today, and I will see you in the morning. Bye.